Hello, my name is Keriath, and today we are going to do a cheeky little weekend range review for the Cawdor Gang, because my god, if this is not one of the most versatile kits that Games Workshop does, even whilst being, actually, in some ways, not all that versatile. So, you'll have to excuse me today if I'm a little more effusive and enthusiastic than normal. Had a little bit of drinkies with lunchtime, just a little bit, not too much, quite a lot actually, but never mind, it's fine. I wanted to talk about these guys sooner rather than later because I think the Cawdor Gang is one of my favourite kits that Games Workshop does. It's, as I say, really versatile whilst also actually being kind of tricky to mess with. The key with these guys is that you don't actually need to mess with them all that much to make them fit any number of applications. So, you can of course use them as simply the Cawdor Gang for Necromunda. That is their purpose, that's why they were made, that's the whole point. But these guys have, amongst all of the Cawdor stuff, a very versatile aesthetic that can fit pretty much any setting that you want them to fit. Admittedly, yes, they do come with things like guns, which can make them a bit of a poor fit for some things, although given the way Age of Sigmar has gone in terms of steampunk dwarves and deep sea elves, guns really aren't that much of an issue, I don't think. But they're so easily switched around and you can so easily change what they're holding that you can pretty much apply them to any force that you want, within reason. I mean, Chaos Cultists is a great example of these guys being incredibly useful. I mean, if you want Word Bearers Cultists, just buy a box of these. I mean, you don't even need to do anything beyond paint them in Word Bearers colours, and they would absolutely fit in, no problem whatsoever. You could tweak them if you wanted to do something Night Lords related, perhaps. I wouldn't suggest them for things like Iron Warriors, Emperor's Children. World Eaters would be a bit of a stretch. You could maybe, if you replaced all of their weapons with close combat, and of course found appropriate heads. Something else to point out, by the way, they are so easy to do head swaps on, it's absolutely ridiculous. This feels like a kit that was built primarily for Necromunda, but a secondary thought, I swear, must have been, well, I mean, these guys look great, so clearly we have to make it so that you can do whatever you like with them. I have a Dark Mechanicus kill team that I use these guys for. I mean, that's something else as well. These fit beautifully with Skitarii parts. So if you get a box of Skitarii and a box of these, you can create a really interesting, like, either Dark Mechanicus or Adeptus Mechanicus force with little more than just head and weapon swaps. Somehow the aesthetic still fits. It's obviously darker, it's a bit more grim, but it works really well. And even things like doing leg swaps, like quite a few of these guys, there's a few of them who have got like bare feet instead of boots. And all I did for those was just cut the legs off some of the Skitarii at the knee, did the same thing with the models that have bare feet, and just attach them on. It works really well because actually on the legs themselves, as you can see from this guy, they have that kind of padded metal armour across the shins, and some of them have that kind of straight line splint thing going on the leg as well, which means that when you take off the other leg and put a mechanical leg on there is still an industrial feel to them, which works really nicely. Now, obviously they work really well for, I mean, you can use them for any number of different Chaos Legions, and if you have your own Chaos Warband that has a particular look to it, these guys work great, absolutely great as cultists, either with the heads they come with, if you want to put a more kind of religious zealot slant to things, or alternatively with head swaps. And I will say that so far I struggle to find, I don't think I've found any particular head swap that doesn't fit with these guys. Even the larger things like Space Marine helmets to some degree do fit. Now they do look a bit too big for the model in some cases, but they still sit really well. The design of these guys is such that you can pretty much put anything on there, including heads from other Necromunda gangs. So if you wanted to mix and match a bit, there are a few different gangs that Forge World have done heads for. Pretty much all of those, from what I've tried, have fit into these bodies. Because sometimes things like the guns aren't completely appropriate for whatever you're doing with them, but you can replace them really, really easily. The arms are a little tricky sometimes because you have the cowl that they have around their neck goes down over the shoulder and come towards the upper arm. But most arms that I've messed with, you can chop off at the shoulder if they indeed join at the shoulder, which, to be honest, like things like Imperial Guard mostly do. You can chop them off at the shoulder and they fit really well, or you can actually just dig out that part of the Cawdor model and they will slot in nicely. I have to admit, I do like the weapons they come with, but of course, if you wanted to use them for, say, some sort of really ragged Imperial Penal Legion, then you would want to swap out the weapons to something more appropriate, using las rifles and the like. If you go to eBay, Bitsbox UK is the one that I use most often, bitsbox.co.uk. They tend to have a really good range of stuff like that. It's actually really easy to swap a lot of the weapons out. Now, quite a few of them do have these kind of gun and blade staff situations going on, but what I did with my Dark Mechanicus was I just chopped the gun off and put an AdMech gun on instead. That's what I did for most of these, just because it was quicker, it was easier, and it fit the kind of ragtag condemned feel that I really like about Cawdor as a whole anyway. Even things like Age of Sigmar, I've seen people use these in all sorts of settings for Age of Sigmar, for various armies, just because they just have a look to them that suits pretty much everything. Without the guns, they are not inherently technological. As soon as you take away the guns, they can apply to a fantasy setting just as easily as they are applying to a dark sci-fi setting. Even things like the icon that the leader of the gang uses, that applies to so many different things. I don't actually have that particular icon, the one that this guy holds here. I don't have that on my Dark Mechanicus. Instead, what he's got is he's holding one of the swords that the Skitarii get. I think it's the Electro Prod or something like that. Electro Prod, Cattle Prod. I can't remember what it's called, but he has one of those instead of this icon. However, this icon I have used for my my Primaris that go along with my Dread Mob. I wanted something that was a bit creepy, a bit gothic-y, just something that was not the standard thing that a Space Marine Ancient would hold, and that absolutely fits the bill. That kind of cobbled together shield and candle aesthetic works really well for a load of different things, and yeah, it's one of those kits where you can find applications in pretty much every system. If you've got an idea for a ragtag, be it militia, cultists, be it some sort of troop choice for Age of Sigmar, just ragtag doomed to death, to die fighting kind of idea in your head, Cawdor are one of the best kits for that. I will say that although I haven't actually used any of the heads are pretty decent. You get an interesting mix, an interesting choice of stuff. As I say, for things like Word Bearers, I would totally just leave the heads on. I wouldn't even do a head swap. As you can see from the sprue, there's not a vast amount of customization you can do in terms of poses, but hopefully you can see what I mean in terms of like chopping a leg off and putting another leg on instead. Quite a few of the models only have like one leg attached, which means you can easily just do a very quick, simple measurement, just stick the leg that you want next to the body or up against the other leg, chop it off where you need to, glue it on, and you've got an easy part swap that kind of increases the amount of variety and kind of personalises the model a little bit more. I will say a personal favourite of everything on these sprues is the big old crossbow. I think that is a great weapon. It looks brilliant. It looks really cool. Again, it's super appropriate for Age of Sigmar if you wanted to use it for that. I have stuck one of these onto one of my Primaris guys. He's got a Hellblaster, but I thought, wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be fun if you had one of those on top of that? So he does. It's a really fun bit of kit, and yeah, he just looks really cool. You don't have to build this guy with that. You can give him other options if you want to, but overall, I really do feel like Cawdor is one of the best kits that Games Workshop does. It's not vastly easy to modify, but any head you want to stick in there generally will fit and will look decent. The ability to customize the weapons, whilst it might not be an immediate case of, oh, that's super simple, it tends to be pretty easy, and pretty much any other weapon will fit with them. A little bit of careful cutting, but if you're used to converting en masse, you'll be used to doing that anyway. And the overall look of them is so appropriate for multiple settings. It's a super, super solid kit. And of course, the look of the nooses around the necks, I feel like that's like a timeless condemned thing. It doesn't matter what setting you're in, you can easily think up a reason for these models to be there, which is really, really cool. I absolutely love these lot. I've still got, I think I've got 2 boxes of them left that I'm planning to use for other stuff, but yeah, it's super easy to assemble, super easy to customize when you've worked out what you want to do. Head swaps are the easiest way. Even the weapons can be messed with. Strangely, despite the lack of posability, despite the lack of, quick weapon swaps, very versatile, even though they're not super versatile model-wise. They just fit everything. Great, great kit. Absolutely love it. Let me know what you've done with the Cawdor Gang outside of Necromunda. I'm assuming some people have used them just for Necromunda. I'm guessing that's a thing that's happened. If you have used them for Necromunda, then do let me know, because everyone else I know has used them for everything but that. If you've used them for a different reason, then do let me know what those are in the comments down below. If you've got a particular favourite head swap or weapon swap for these guys that works really well, then let us know as well. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like. Don't click it if you don't want to. And of course, there is an affiliate link for Element Games in the description. And now Games Workshop is shipping out again. If you order through there, you'll most likely actually get the stuff you want. So that's nice. Feel free to do that if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.